Hello and welcome back. This is MK with MAAcademyonline.com, and today I want to say big congratulations to top 3 winners of May Student Leaderboard. Number 1 place goes to EO for Wellness. Nice. Second place goes to Amir, and 3rd place goes to Michael Amelin. Now, I asked all of them to come up with some questions for me, and I picked one question that I find really interesting, and I think that your guys are going to find it very interesting as well. Question comes from Michael Amelin, and he asks, what kind of mentality or mental attitude should a martial artist have for best self-development or the development of the skills? So let's focus on one of the parts of the question, which comes to about the skill development. So before you figure out how you develop skill, you should figure out which skill you should focus most of your time on. So think of it this way: what can you develop that's going to help you improve no matter what discipline that you're practicing, no matter what technique that you're trying to perfect? What kinds of skills apply to those things? So those I call the core skill sets, right? And that's what really a lot of my drills trying to focus on. So those core skill sets could be timing, right? It could be accuracy. It could be muscle explosive power, maximal power, muscle endurance, for general fitness and to increase the speed of your techniques. So I am a big believer that you gotta focus majority of your time around developing those core skill sets, and then anything else comes as a supplemental training. I mean, think about it. You can have the fastest and the strongest technique in the world, but if you freeze when you spar because of your lack of experience or because of your lack of practice in that skill area, then all of that is a waste. 80% of your speed gonna drop. You're gonna be executing techniques with hesitation and with telegraphing, and none of that is gonna work. So in that respect, that's what I mean by you gotta focus on those core skill sets before you wanna, really expand your toolbox, and collect all these different techniques and perfect all these different techniques. All right, so let's say you picked up the skill sets or skill categories that you want to work on, and you figured out a way or different drills and exercises how to work on those skill categories. So the second implication from that question comes then, how do you maintain consistency of developing those kinds of skill categories or doing those exercises or doing those drills consistently? How to maintain your motivation, how to maintain your inspiration, your mindset to do that. And that's a very difficult thing to do, especially in today's realities where we have jobs, we have families to take care of, we have school, we have friends, we have all these different things going on that we gotta kind of divide and spread our attention to. But everything's possible if you have the proper motivation and you have the proper discipline. So one thing that really helps me personally to stick to my workouts is to simply keep track of it. Write it down. Create a table, right? What I do, I create a table of skill categories that I want to develop on. I put, let's say, timing. I put a certain amount of hours or, 1,000 minutes or whatever for that year that I want to work on it. And then each day, I added whatever I work on. Let's say I work on timing for 20 minutes, I add it to the table. I work on something else for 20 minutes, I add it to that table as well. And seeing my progress helps me motivate myself to keep on going and reaching my goals. Just setting small goals like saying, okay, I want to work out, 10 hours this week, right? And so every time you work out, you just write it down, how long you did it and what you did. And the next time when you look at it, you say, okay, I made a pretty good progress. It didn't feel like I did all that much, but because I divided it among different days and because I, wrote all of it down, kept track of it, then I put it up, then I added up, it comes out to a pretty good result. So that's one way, and I think it works for most people, that you can keep yourself motivated and on track and stay consistent in your practice of those skill development. Alright, so let's say you know your skill categories that you want to develop, you know how to develop them, and you know how to maintain consistency and how to keep yourself on track. Now, the third part of all that mentality and of that philosophy would be, what would be the purpose of it? right? You gotta have a vision. You have to have a concrete goal for what to reach for, because you can't just reach for nothingness. It's not gonna keep you inspired and motivated enough to do that, because it's not just enough to have consistency, you also have to have intensity, right? You might be consistent, do 1 minute of workout a day for a year, and not gonna amount to much. You have to maintain that intensity. And how do you do that? Most people, number one problem that most people do, they look for that motivation elsewhere, right? Let's say they say, oh, he's so fast, he's so strong, I want to be like that, right? I'm going to work out really hard until I'm going to be like that. Well, guess what? You work out really hard, and then you figure out that he's another mile away. He's even on a different plateau, right? So that's not a good way to go about it. And that's going to limit you, actually. A better way is to compare yourself to yourself at a different point in time. So the best way for me, at least, to motivate myself and to really bring that intensity is to keep myself on track, to know what I did before, or let's say last year, and to try to do better this year. Or you can have a smaller timeline. Let's say you did 10 hours of workout last week. Guess what? Well, try to do 11 this week. And that way, for me personally, is a lot more satisfying and a lot more sustainable than trying to compare yourself to someone else. And at the same time, you want to be your unique self. Don't go out there and copy someone else, like Bruce Lee said. Don't go out there and copy someone else's personality or someone else's, uniqueness. Come up with your own. Be authentic to yourself. Be true to yourself. And express yourself. So I hope it makes sense. Let me know what you think. And this is just my philosophy on the proper mindset for self-development and development of skill sets for a martial artist. But let me know what you think. Tell me what your philosophy is. What aspects of training you focus on. How do you keep consistent in your workouts? And I can't wait to hear from you, and I'll see you next time.